Coachella Valley, California, April 20, 2025, 10:47 p.m. Billie Eilish was supposed to close Coachella 2025. 200,000 people waited in the desert night for her to take the stage. But then every screen went black. The music stopped. Silence. People pulled out their phones, confused. And then, from the darkness, a single spotlight hit center stage. An 80-year-old man with gray dreadlocks walked out holding a guitar. The crowd didn't understand at first. Then someone screamed. Then 10 people. Then 10,000. Bob Marley was at Coachella, and nobody knew it was coming. Let's rewind 12 hours. That morning, Bob Marley sat in his hotel room in Palm Springs, 20 miles from Coachella. His manager, Patricia, thought he was resting. She had no idea he'd been planning this for 3 months. Bob's grandson, Johann, sat across from him, grinning. "Grandpa, are you sure about this? You're 80 years old. Coachella is crazy. The heat, the crowds, the chaos." Bob smiled that famous smile. "Exactly why I need to be there. These young people, they think music is about lights and production. I want to show them it's about soul." Bob had contacted Coachella organizers in January, not through his team, not through managers or agents. He called them directly from his house in Jamaica. "This is Bob Marley. I want to play your festival. But I have one condition. Nobody can know. Not the press. Not the artists. Nobody. I want to surprise them." The organizers thought it was a prank at first, but when Bob video called them and they saw his face, they nearly had heart attacks. They agreed immediately. This would be the biggest surprise in Coachella's 50-year history. The plan was simple, but insane. Billie Eilish would start her closing set at 10:30 p.m. At exactly 10:45 p.m., she would stop mid-song, claiming technical difficulties. The screens would go dark, and Bob would walk out. They told only 5 people at Coachella. Even the sound engineers didn't know until 2 hours before. Security was briefed at 9 p.m. "Do not let anyone stop the old Jamaican man who walks on stage at 10:45. Yes, he's supposed to be there. No, we can't explain. Just trust us. Back to the moment." Bob walked to center stage, and the crowd was losing their minds. People were crying, screaming, fainting. Security guards at the front barriers were getting crushed by the surge. Bob stood there, calm, letting the chaos happen. He'd been in front of millions before. But this felt different. These kids weren't his generation. Most of them were born in the 2000s. Some didn't even know who Bob Marley was until they Googled him 30 seconds ago. But they knew he was a legend. You could feel it in the air. "Good evening, Coachella," Bob said into the microphone, his Jamaican accent thick and beautiful. The crowd roared. "I know you came to see Billie. She's beautiful, talented, I love her music, but she called me 2 hours ago and said, 'Bob, these people need to hear from you.' So here I am." The crowd went insane. That was a lie, of course. Billie had no idea this was happening. She was backstage getting ready when her manager ran up to her, pale. "Bob Marley just walked on stage." Billie's mouth dropped open. "What?" She ran to the side stage and watched. Tears immediately filled her eyes. Bob started playing. Not a big production, no dancers, no pyrotechnics. Just him, his guitar, and a small band that had secretly rehearsed with him for 2 weeks. He opened with Redemption Song. Acoustic, raw, pure. 200,000 people went silent. You could hear every word, every breath. The desert wind carried his voice across the valley. People who were tripping on substances sobered up immediately. Something spiritual was happening. This wasn't just a concert. This was church. In the crowd, 19-year-old Madison from Oregon was crying so hard she couldn't see. She'd never heard Bob Marley live. Her dad had died when she was 12, and he used to play Bob Marley every Sunday morning. Hearing Redemption Song felt like her dad was there. She wasn't alone. Thousands of people around her were sobbing, not sad crying, healing crying, the kind of tears that wash away years of pain. Bob finished the song. The crowd erupted, but Bob held up his hand for silence. I want to bring someone up here, a young sister who reminds me why I still make music. Security looked confused. This wasn't in the plan. Bob pointed into the crowd. You? Yes, you in the yellow shirt. Come here. It was Madison. She froze. People around her pushed her forward. Security helped her over the barrier and onto the stage. She was shaking, terrified. Bob put his arm around her. What's your name, sister? Madison could barely speak. Madison. Her voice cracked. Bob smiled. Madison? Beautiful name. Why you crying, Madison? She couldn't hold it in. My dad, he loved you. He died. And hearing you, it feels like he's here. Bob pulled her into a hug. 200,000 people watched this 80-year-old legend hold a sobbing teenager. Your father is here, Bob whispered into her ear, but the microphone caught it. He lives in your heart, in your memories. In this moment, he's proud of you. Madison collapsed into Bob's arms. Medical staff started moving toward the stage, thinking she was having a medical emergency. But Bob waved them off. He just held her, let her cry, let her heal. After 2 minutes, he gently pulled back. Madison, I want you to sing with me. Can you do that? She shook her head. I can't sing. Bob laughed. Neither can I, sister, but we're going to do it anyway. The crowd laughed and cried at the same time. Bob started playing Three Little Birds. The crowd sang along. Bob handed Madison the microphone for the chorus. Don't worry about a thing. Her voice was shaky, off-key, scared. But it was the most beautiful sound anyone had ever heard. Because it was real. It was human. It was broken and healing at the same time. The crowd sang with her, supporting her, lifting her. By the end of the song, Madison was smiling through tears. Bob hugged her again, and security helped her back to the crowd. She'd remember that moment for the rest of her life. Bob played for 45 minutes. No woman, no cry. One love? Get up, stand up. Every song was a masterpiece, but it wasn't just the music. It was the way he connected. Between songs, he talked, not preaching, just sharing. I see you young people with your phones, recording everything, and that's beautiful. But don't forget to feel it too. Put the phone down for one song. Just be here, with me, with each other. Slowly, thousands of phones lowered. People actually listened. They swayed. They sang. They existed in the moment. Backstage, Billie Eilish watched with tears streaming down her face. Her brother Phineas stood next to her, also crying. He's 80 years old and he's outperforming everyone at this festival, Phineas whispered. Billie nodded. It's not about age. It's about soul. Look at them. They're not just watching. They're transformed. Other artists gathered backstage. Tyler, the Creator, Doja Cat, Bad Bunny. Everyone stopped what they were doing to watch Bob Marley do what he did best. Remind people that music is medicine. For his final song, Bob paused. I'm going to play something I wrote last week. You won't know it, but I think you'll feel it. He started playing a new song. Slow, haunting, beautiful. The lyrics were about a divided world, about young people inheriting a broken planet, about choosing love when hate is easier. It was called Hope in the Darkness. The crowd swayed. Lighters and phone flashlights went up. 200,000 lights in the darkness. From the sky, it looked like stars had fallen to earth. Bob finished the song. Silence. Then the loudest roar in Coachella history. People were screaming, crying, hugging strangers. Bob bowed slowly, his 80-year-old body tired but fulfilled. He waved, and then he walked off stage. No encore, no goodbye speech, just left them wanting more. That's the mark of a legend. Always leave them wanting more. But here's what happened after that nobody expected. The video of Bob's surprise performance went viral instantly. Within 1 hour, 50 million views. By morning, 200 million. It became the most watched Coachella moment ever. But more than that, it changed the festival. Coachella organizers announced the next day that they would dedicate one stage every year to legacy artists, older musicians who shaped music history. Bob Marley had reminded them that festivals aren't just about what's new, they're about honoring what's timeless. Madison, the girl Bob brought on stage, was interviewed by every major news outlet. She used her 15 minutes of fame to start a foundation called Songs for Healing, connecting people dealing with grief through music therapy. Within 6 months, they'd helped 10,000 people, all because Bob Marley saw her crying in a crowd of 200,000 and chose to help her heal. Billie Eilish posted on Instagram that night, "I was supposed to close Coachella. Instead, I got to watch a masterclass in what it means to be an artist." Bob Marley, at 80 years old, reminded me why I make music. Not for streams, not for fame, but to connect soul to soul. I'll never forget tonight. The post got 25 million likes. Comments from other artists flooded in. Everyone agreed Bob Marley had just redefined what a festival performance could be. And Bob? He flew back to Jamaica the next morning. Didn't do press, didn't do interviews. Just went home. Because for him, it was never about the glory. It was about the moment. Those 45 minutes where 200,000 people forgot about their problems and remembered they were human. That's all Bob ever wanted. To remind people that despite everything wrong in the world, love still exists. Hope still exists. Music still heals. 3 months later, Coachella released the official footage of Bob's performance. It became a documentary called The Night Bob Marley Saved Coachella. It won an Emmy. But the real award was the comment section, thousands of Gen Z kids saying the same thing. "I didn't know who Bob Marley was before this. Now I can't stop listening. His music changed my life." That's legacy, not awards, not fame, but the ability to reach across generations and touch souls. And somewhere in Oregon, Madison played Three Little Birds every morning. Sometimes she cried, sometimes she smiled. But she always remembered the night an 80-year-old legend saw her in a crowd of 200,000 and chose to heal her. That's the Bob Marley who would have existed in 2025. Not on magazine covers, not chasing trends, but showing up in unexpected places, doing unexpected things, and reminding everyone that music isn't entertainment. Music is medicine. And Bob Marley was the greatest doctor who ever lived. And that's what would have happened if Bob Marley crashed Coachella in 2025. He would have stolen the show without even trying. Because real legends don't need production. They don't need fireworks. They just need a guitar, a voice, and a message. And Bob Marley's message was always the same. One love, even at 80, even at Coachella, even in a world that had forgotten how to love itself. Bob remembered. And for 45 minutes in the California desert, so did everyone else.